Hello, I want to show you some of the keyframing functionality of the ExoSwitch constraint. So for this particular example, we're not going to need that object, and we're just going to constrain these two cube, and the first thing I'm going to do is disabling this auto key driver because we don't need it in this particular case. So grab cube 1 and set a couple of keyframe on it. I'm just pressing Shift W here, and then we're gonna get cube 2 and set a couple of keyframe on it. So because the auto switch attribute here is set to on, every time I select a new job, a different object, I'm getting their own animation. Now let me turn the auto switch off, and cube 1 now is driven by cube 2, but I can decide that I want it still to be constrained, but I don't want it to pay attention to the constraint itself. So I can click here, and now oops, yeah, I was pressing the wrong one. And now when I'm moving the time slider, the cube 1 is not paying attention anymore to the constraint, and it went back to paying attention to its curves. I can click back here and have it be driven by the constraint again. But another thing I can do is decide that I really want to disconnect it, so I don't want it to be constrained anymore. So if I press down here, now cube 1 is completely unconstrained and it still retains its animation, and cube 2 is still moving, but and is attached to constraint, but there is really nothing that is driven by it. I can at this point create another random object and decide that I want to attach it to the system. So now the torus has been driven by the cube because I just attach it to it. If I turn auto switch back on, now I can grab the torus and move the cube around and vice versa. Another thing that we can do, let me reopen the scene, is do the animation first. So I'm just gonna set a couple of keyframes here. I don't need this guy, just make it simple. And then we can decide that we want to constrain, and because by default the auto switch is on, depending on which object I'm selecting, I'm getting one animation or the other one.